Hi, welcome to this week's episode of our Town Hall series hosted by Certified PA Consulting. I'm Kasey D'Amato, president of Certified PA Consulting. I'm a PA, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. I am also a certified life and career coach, and we help PAs, NPs, and physicians navigate the world of business and professional issues that are not taught in PA school or medical school. So because of my experience managing a multi-million-dollar practice, as well as raising capital for my own non-clinical business and scaling that business and selling that business and all the different experiences that I've had, and now I'm a certified life and career coach, and also I do business coaching. So I help people with private coaching and group courses navigate everything from salary negotiations and contracts and how to create a win-win between a PA and a practice. I help people make career transitions clinically or non-clinically, help people with business coaching for people who are interested in clinical or non-clinical business, and everything in between as it relates to professional issues that were not taught in PA school or medical school. So I have lots and lots of experience. We started Certified PA Consulting back in 2009, so we've been around for a long time. And again, I have a lot of business experience, which is why I feel so passionate about helping other people, other medical professionals, really understand negotiations, contracts, business transitions, career transitions, life decisions, as it all intertwines between the money, finance, career goals, relationships, personal and business, and how it's all intertwined. And now I help people navigate those roads and elevate their life, their career, their business to the next level. So in this week's video, we're talking about toxic relationships. And this might be personal or it might be professional. It can happen anywhere. You're just around people that are either negative or you just don't click with. It's not somebody that you would necessarily choose to be in a relationship with. Hopefully this is not your spouse or significant other. And if it's somebody who's in your friend circle, maybe it's time to divorce that friend and not spend so much time with them. And if it's a spouse or significant other, you might have some hard things to think about. But in this video, we're talking about mostly in a professional setting. What happens if you're around toxic people or toxic relationships? This is people that are either verbally kind of confrontational or borderline verbally abusive. This is people that are just have negative energy. Maybe they're cliquey or they're exclusive or they just talk down to you. They're disrespectful. Any of the above. It's just people that instead of lighting you up and being a bright part of your day, these are people that are a dark part of your day that you dread seeing, that make you uncomfortable, that kind of make your life unhappy for the time that you are exposed to them. That's a toxic relationship. That's bringing out negative emotions and negative energy instead of people that you're around who you enjoy their company and make you feel good and bring out positive emotions. That is positive relationships. So in talking about toxic relationships, what are 3 strategies that you can do to deal with them? Well, number 1, how much can you limit your exposure to this person or people? So if you're in a professional setting, are there things you can do physically to not be around this person? Can you move your desk to a different part of the office? Can you modify a schedule so that you work on different days than them, or you don't have to cross paths as much with them? How can you limit your exposure to these people so that you can coexist, assuming that you like what you're doing professionally, you enjoy your clinical work and patients and location, all the things. It's just this person. So how do you limit your time with that person? How do you change things, change your schedule, change the dynamics of what you're doing? If you're a surgical PA and it's the surgeon, can you work with another surgeon in the group? Are there other things you could do? How do you limit your exposure? Because the more you're around that person, you can't change other people. So if there's something fundamentally toxic about their personality, it's very difficult unless you can separate from them to mitigate that. But there are a couple other tools. We're going to talk about it. But the number 1 is, what can you do? Get really, really creative. What can you do to limit your exposure to this person that you have a toxic relationship with? Now, you can always have a conversation with people about how they're making you feel and things like that, but most of the time, the other person's going to defend their actions, they're going to defend their ways, and it's not often that it's going to lead to significant change. If it's somebody who's really narcissistic or they just see things differently than you do, you can have those conversations. But again, you can't change people's personalities. So a lot of times they'll just get defensive and not a lot of positive outcome will come from that. So you can try it, but just remember, people's personalities will not change. So if it's them truly that you just don't click with, it's oil and water, then it's difficult. Sometimes those conversations don't really have a positive outcome. So number one, how can you limit your exposure to that person? Number two, be aware of your emotions and how much is that person controlling your emotional state. So is it that you just seeing that person is automatically increasing your blood pressure, making you feel kind of agitated or anxious or angry or scared or sad or on edge? If you're around just being in their presence, how much is that person controlling your emotional state? And if just being in their presence brings up emotions for you, then you can control that. If just being in their presence brings up emotions, even before they say anything or do anything, then that's in you. And that's your responsibility to change that reaction that you're having just being around them, because something that happened in the past or conversation in the past that you're holding on to, that you're not letting go, that now just being in their presence is making you feel a certain way and some kind of negative emotion. So if that's happening, it's time to look within a bit and start thinking about how can I let go of that conversation and start seeing things fresh. This person hasn't said anything or done anything to me today that is upsetting. So why am I feeling these type of negative emotions around this person? Can I just walk in and say good morning to whoever this is, Sally, Ed, Fred, whoever, and does there need to be negative emotions around this? Or are you creating it for yourself based on something that happened in the past? So be really intentional about paying attention to your emotional state related to this relationship. And are you going into a negative emotional state before anything even happens, any conversation or any actions from this person because of things in the past? In which case, it's time to start doing some deep reflecting on yourself and how you can control those emotions. Now, if there is a conversation or they say something or do something that's bringing up those negative emotions, are those emotions getting exaggerated? Are you kind of overreacting, if you will, because again, of something that happened in the past? You're oversensitized to this person in this relationship. And if that's happening, that's also something else to think about. So I encourage you to keep a diary of your emotions related to this person. How are you feeling? How are this person, quote unquote, making you feel? And is it really them making you feel that way? Or is it you reacting in a certain way and feeling that way? And you could get some more control over that emotional state. You could potentially see it a different way, or you could react a different way, or you could mitigate your emotional response in a different way so that it's not as uncomfortable. So this is a tough exercise, but I encourage you to do it, to kind of make a diary around your emotional state and really think about, is it them making you feel that way, or are you feeling that way because of something that happened in the past you're oversensitized to, and you're automatically reacting in a certain way that you could maybe control that a little bit more so that you're not living in a negative state? You could either walk away and just ignore them, or you could respond in a different way. Think about, okay, this conversation isn't really that bad. They're not really, trying to insult me. Maybe I'm going back to a conversation from a year ago or something else. And I need to, not think about this conversation in this way if I need to coexist professionally with this person. So really, really, really pay attention to your emotional state and how can you control it? How can you think about things you're grateful for about where you work, other people that are really positive that you work with, that you're around all day long, and this one person, maybe it wouldn't be your first person to be a friend with, but that's okay. You don't have to be friends. Just professional colleagues, just cordial. So it's okay. You don't have to be chummy and hang out outside of work and all these things and give each other a major good mornings. Just being cordial and civil is really all that's required in the workplace without being, toxic or disrespected or verbally abused or any of those things. So just really make sure that you're compartmentalizing what's going on and if you are controlling your emotions. And then number 3, focus on solutions more than the problem. So more than placing the blame on the other person that he did this, she did this, she said this, he said this, whatever that is, try to think about, okay, I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about how do we solve this from not happening again in the future? What do I need to say to this person? Hey, when you said it like this, it made me feel this way. So if this situation comes up again, could we approach it a little bit differently so it doesn't feel so disrespectful, or it doesn't feel like I am the punching bag in this situation? If this situation comes up, could we possibly address it in a different way that is a little bit more mutually respectful for both of us? And so how do you come up with solutions rather than focusing on, oh my gosh, I can't believe he or she said this or did this, and this made me feel horrible. I'm so disrespected in the workplace. I can't take this anymore. They're so toxic. How do you then just say to that person, I just felt very uncomfortable by this situation or what was said, and we can't go back in time, but if something like this comes up in the future, could we possibly address it in this way? Could we set up a time to sit down and talk about what happened, how we can solve it, and have a little bit more mutual respect in the conversation, and just approach it head on like that. So try not to focus on the reaction, your emotional reaction, which is going to be defensive and it's going to be negative, and you're going to feel like you're trapped and you're getting all that toxic energy, and try to address it in a different way with a solution. And hopefully they're going to be open to that. Remember, if they're not, go back to that number one, how much space do you need to put between you and them? Because they're not going to change your personality. If they really are a huge narcissist, if they really are impossible to compromise with or have that conversation about mutual respect, then separate yourself as much as you can. And sometimes it even is a hard decision to actually make a career change. I hate to say that, but you can't change people's personalities. So if you're oil and water and you're doing that emotional diary and seeing yourself falling into negative emotions every day, more and more and more, even around their presence, and you can't change that, then it might be time to make some hard decisions and some big changes. So, at Certified PA Consulting, we help people through this process. We have coaching packages available. Click the links below. We have private career coaching to help people through these processes, to help you with even more tools and exercises to help your mindset and help you control your emotional state, and other tools around dealing with toxic personalities or relationships. Hopefully, you can mitigate it and step out of it, step away from it. We can help you with career transitions if it gets to that point as well, and how mentally to go through that, how to plan financially for that, how to put the wheels in place, how to deal emotionally with that, because it's hard to make a change after a long period of time. I know I've been there myself, made a change after a toxic relationship got too toxic. It's hard. We get it. And that's why we coach PAs through that process. So take advantage of our coaching. We also, if you're interested in business, we have a brand new business webinar, 10 do's and don'ts in business. It can help you really at any stage. Even if you're working for somebody else, it's always good to have a foundation of business. So take advantage of that. And all of our resources at Certified PA Consulting. Again, I'm Kasey D'Amato. Feel free to connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, and I'll see you next week.